Commander Jessica Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the UES Prometheus, humanity's first and only Titan-class warship, watching the swirling colors of hyperspace through the massive viewports. After 18 months of construction in the hidden shipyards of Titan Station, the Prometheus represented everything humanity had learned from 3 decades of interstellar exploration. At 12 kilometers long and bristling with experimental weapons systems, it was designed to ensure that when humanity finally encountered other intelligent life, they would meet as equals, not victims. The bridge hummed with quiet efficiency as her crew of 300 conducted their final system checks. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Thompson, her tactical officer, looked up from his console with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "All weapons systems green, Commander. The new plasma cannons are fully charged, and the kinetic artillery is loaded with tungsten penetrators. If we run into trouble out there, we'll be ready." Jessica nodded, though privately she hoped they wouldn't need those weapons. The Prometheus wasn't just a warship. It was humanity's ambassador to the galaxy, carrying diplomatic protocols alongside its formidable arsenal. Dr. Sarah Chen, the mission's chief xenobiologist, had spent years developing communication matrices based on mathematical principles that should be universal among intelligent species. But as Jessica had learned during her 20-year career in the unified Earth Space Force, hope for peace didn't mean you shouldn't prepare for war. "Hyperspace exit in 30 seconds," announced Navigation Officer Emily Watson from her station near the front of the bridge. The young woman had graduated top of her class from the Luna Naval Academy, and Jessica had specifically requested her for this mission. If they were going to make first contact, she wanted humanity's best and brightest representing their species. The mission had begun 6 months earlier when deep space monitoring stations detected artificial signals from the Kepler 442 system, approximately 1,200 light-years from Earth. The signals were clearly technological in origin, showing complex mathematical patterns that could only have been created by intelligent beings. After decades of searching for signs of extraterrestrial life, humanity had finally found proof they weren't alone in the universe. The discovery had sent shockwaves through Earth's political establishment. The United Nations Space Council had immediately classified the information, while teams of scientists worked around the clock to analyze the signals. What they found was both fascinating and terrifying. The transmissions showed evidence of multiple civilizations, suggesting not just one alien species, but an entire galactic community that humanity had been unaware of. President Martinez had authorized the Prometheus mission after heated debates in closed sessions. Some counselors argued for a cautious approach, sending unmanned probes first. Others demanded immediate military action, fearing that revealing humanity's location could invite invasion. In the end, the decision was made to send the Titan-class warship as both explorer and protector, equipped for diplomacy but prepared for battle. "Hyperspace exit in 10 seconds, Watson announced, her voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment. "All stations report ready." Jessica felt her heart rate increase as she gripped the armrests of her command chair. Through the viewports, the swirling colors of hyperspace began to fade, replaced by the stark blackness of normal space punctuated by distant stars. The Kepler 442 system materialized around them, dominated by an orange dwarf star slightly smaller than Earth's sun. "Sensors coming online," reported Science Officer David Park, his fingers dancing across his console as streams of data began flowing in. "I'm detecting multiple artificial objects throughout the system. Commander, there are structures around the fourth planet that are massive. Some of them are larger than our moon." Jessica moved to stand behind Park's station, studying the readouts as the ship's advanced sensors painted a picture of the alien system. What she saw defied her expectations. Instead of the small outposts or primitive settlements she had imagined, the displays showed evidence of a civilization that had completely transformed their star system. Orbital habitats surrounded multiple planets, connected by streams of traffic that could only be spacecraft. "My God," whispered Dr. Chen, who had joined them at the science station. "Look at the energy readings from those structures. They're harnessing power on a scale we can barely comprehend. This isn't just an alien civilization, Commander. These beings are operating on a level of technology that makes us look like we're still banging rocks together." The implications hit Jessica like a physical blow. The Prometheus, for all its advanced systems and powerful weapons, suddenly seemed insignificant compared to the evidence of this alien mega-civilization. How could humanity possibly negotiate as equals with beings who could build structures the size of moons? "Commander," Thompson called from his tactical station, his voice tight with concern. "I'm detecting movement from several of those large structures. Multiple objects are changing course and heading in our direction. Estimated time to intercept, 4 hours." Jessica returned to her command chair, her mind racing as she processed the situation. First contact protocols called for peaceful overtures, but she couldn't ignore the possibility that their arrival had been interpreted as a threat. The Prometheus was, after all, a warship, and its appearance in an alien star system could easily be seen as an act of aggression. "Open a channel on all frequencies," she ordered. "Broadcast the universal peace message that Dr. Chen prepared, along with mathematical sequences to demonstrate our intelligence. Let them know we come in peace." As the communications officer began transmitting humanity's first message to an alien civilization, Jessica couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking into something far beyond their understanding. The beings who had built those massive structures possessed technology that could probably destroy the Prometheus without effort. Yet here they were, representing all of humanity in humanity's first contact with the wider galaxy. The next few hours would determine whether this moment would be remembered as the beginning of a new age of cooperation and discovery, or as the day humanity learned it was small and alone in a vast and potentially hostile universe. Either way, there was no going back. The galaxy now knew that humanity existed, and the consequences of that revelation would echo through history for generations to come. As warning klaxons began to sound throughout the ship, signaling the crew to battle stations, Jessica realized that their peaceful exploration mission had just become humanity's first interstellar crisis. The aliens were coming, and in less than 4 hours, the Prometheus would learn whether humanity had allies or enemies among the stars. The bridge of the Prometheus had transformed into a center of controlled tension as the alien fleet approached. What had started as a handful of moving contacts on the sensors had grown into a formidable force of 67 vessels, ranging in size from what appeared to be fighters to massive ships that dwarfed even the Titan-class warship. Commander Rodriguez stood behind the tactical station, watching as Lieutenant Commander Thompson updated the threat assessment display. The largest alien vessel measured nearly 20 kilometers in length, its hull bristling with weapon emplacements that the ship's AI couldn't even begin to categorize. Smaller escort ships maintained perfect formation around it, their movements so precise they seemed to be controlled by a single mind. Still no response to our peace broadcasts, reported Communications Officer Lieutenant James Park, his Korean accent more pronounced than usual due to stress. I've tried every mathematical sequence, every universal constant we know. Either they don't understand us, or they're choosing not to respond. Dr. Chen paced behind the science stations, her usually calm demeanor replaced by barely contained excitement and fear. Commander, the energy readings from their ships are off the charts. Their smallest vessels are generating more power than our entire ship. If they wanted to destroy us, we wouldn't even see it coming. Jessica appreciated the scientist's honesty, even if it wasn't reassuring. The Prometheus had been designed to face human enemies, ships with similar technology and limitations. These alien vessels operated on principles that humanity barely understood, using power sources that could probably fuel Earth's entire civilization for centuries. Time to intercept, she asked, though she knew the answer would only add to the tension. 97 minutes, Watson replied from the navigation station. They're maintaining a steady approach vector, no evasive maneuvers or aggressive formations. If I had to guess, I'd say they're being cautious too. That gave Jessica some hope. If the aliens intended immediate attack, they probably wouldn't be taking such a measured approach. Then again, when you possessed overwhelming technological superiority, there was no need to rush. They could take their time, study the human vessel, and strike whenever they chose. Dr. Chen, what's our assessment of their technology level? Jessica needed to understand what they were facing, even if the answer was discouraging. The xenobiologist consulted her tablet, scrolling through data that the ship's computers had compiled. Based on their power signatures and the complexity of their ships, I'd estimate they're anywhere from 500 to 1,000 years ahead of us technologically. Their smallest vessels appear to use some form of exotic matter propulsion, and their largest ship is generating energy patterns consistent with controlled antimatter reactions on a massive scale. Thompson looked up from his tactical display, his face grim. "Commander, our weapons would be like throwing stones at a tank. Even our most powerful plasma cannons wouldn't likely penetrate their shields, assuming they need shields at all with armor that advanced." The reality of their situation settled over the bridge like a weight. The Prometheus, humanity's mightiest warship, was essentially defenseless against the approaching alien fleet. Their only hope lay in diplomacy, in somehow convincing these advanced beings that humanity posed no threat and deserved a chance to join the galactic community. "Sir," Park called from communications, "I'm detecting a new transmission. It's not directed at us, but I think they're talking to each other. The signal is incredibly complex, layered with what looks like mathematical harmonics. It's beautiful, actually, like music and mathematics had a child." Jessica moved to the communications station, listening to the alien signals being played through the bridge speakers. The sounds were indeed musical, with harmonics that seemed to carry multiple layers of meaning. It was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered, suggesting that these beings thought and communicated in ways that were fundamentally different from human patterns. "Can we decode any of it?" she asked. Dr. Chen joined them at the communications station, her scientific mind already working on the problem. "The mathematical components are sophisticated but understandable. They're using prime number sequences as reference points, which suggests they understand our earlier transmissions. But the harmonic layers, it's like they're communicating on multiple levels simultaneously. Emotional content, factual information, and something else I can't identify." 73 minutes to intercept," Watson announced. "Commander, I'm detecting additional movement throughout the system. More ships are launching from those orbital structures. It looks like our arrival has stirred up the entire neighborhood." Jessica felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her shoulders. Every decision she made in the next hour could determine the future relationship between humanity and what appeared to be a vast galactic civilization. One wrong move, one misinterpreted action, could doom her species to isolation or worse. "All stations maintain yellow alert," she ordered. "Weapons powered but not targeted. I want us ready to defend ourselves if necessary, but I don't want to appear threatening. Dr. Chen, keep working on those communications. Lieutenant Park, prepare a more detailed message explaining our origins and intentions. Include information about Earth, our solar system, and our peaceful exploration mission." As the crew worked to prepare humanity's most important diplomatic message, Jessica couldn't help but think about the people back on Earth who were counting on them. Billions of humans going about their daily lives, unaware that their entire future was being decided in the cold depths of space by a crew of 300 aboard a single ship. The alien fleet continued its steady approach, their formation shifting slightly as smaller vessels moved to surround the larger command ships. It was a display of overwhelming force, but Jessica noticed it was also a defensive formation. Perhaps these aliens were as uncertain about humanity's intentions as she was about theirs. "Commander," Thompson said quietly, "if this goes bad, what are your orders? Do we fight or do we try to run?" Jessica considered the question carefully. The Prometheus could probably escape into hyperspace if they acted quickly, but that would mean abandoning first contact and leaving humanity ignorant of the galactic community they had stumbled into. On the other hand, getting the ship and crew destroyed would accomplish nothing and would leave Earth defenseless if the aliens decided to follow them home. "We try diplomacy first," she decided. "If they attack without provocation, we defend ourselves as best we can and try to get word back to Earth. But we don't fire first, no matter what. Humanity's first act as a galactic species will not be an act of aggression." The bridge fell silent except for the quiet hum of electronics and the soft musical tones of the ongoing alien communications. In less than an hour, humanity would face its greatest test, and the outcome would echo through history for generations to come. The moment of truth arrived with shocking suddenness. The alien fleet had maintained their steady approach for nearly an hour when suddenly their formation shifted into what could only be described as an attack pattern. The largest vessels moved to the flanks, while smaller, more maneuverable ships accelerated directly toward the Prometheus. "Incoming transmission," Lieutenant Park announced, his voice cutting through the tension on the bridge. "It's directed at us, and it's using our own mathematical sequences as a foundation." Commander Rodriguez felt her heart skip as the alien message played through the bridge speakers. Unlike their previous communications, this transmission was clearly structured for human understanding, using the mathematical constants and prime number sequences that humanity had been broadcasting. Dr. Chen worked frantically at her console, running the message through every translation algorithm they had developed. "I'm getting fragments," she reported, excitement and fear warring in her voice. "They're using our mathematical framework, but they're adding harmonic modulations that carry additional meaning. It's like they're trying to speak our language while teaching us theirs at the same time." "What are they saying?" Jessica demanded, watching as the alien ships continued their approach. The lead vessel was now close enough that she could make out details of its hull through the main view screen. The alien ship was clearly organic in design, with flowing curves and structures that seemed grown rather than built. I think they're asking us to identify ourselves and state our intentions," Dr. Chen translated, though uncertainty colored her voice. "But there's something else embedded in the signal. They're also transmitting what appears to be their own identification. Commander, I think they call themselves something that translates roughly to the harmonious collective, or those who sing in unity." Jessica felt a spark of hope. If the aliens were asking for identification rather than simply attacking, it suggested they were following some form of first contact protocol. Lieutenant Park, transmit our prepared response. Include our species designation, our planet of origin, and our peaceful intentions. Add the information about our exploration mission and our desire to establish diplomatic relations. As humanity's message was transmitted into space, the alien fleet's formation shifted again. The aggressive attack pattern dissolved, replaced by what appeared to be a ceremonial arrangement. The largest ship took position directly ahead of the Prometheus, while the smaller vessels formed concentric circles around both ships. "Commander," Thompson reported from Tactical, "their weapons are powering down. Energy signatures are dropping across their entire fleet. Whatever we said, I think it worked." The relief on the bridge was nearly palpable, but Jessica knew they were far from safe. First contact was just the beginning of what could be an incredibly complex diplomatic dance. One misunderstanding, one cultural faux pas, could still turn this encounter into a disaster. "Incoming transmission," Park announced again. "This one is much more complex than the last. They're using multiple frequency bands simultaneously, and the harmonic structures are incredibly sophisticated." Dr. Chen's translation efforts intensified as the new message played. The alien communication was hauntingly beautiful, with musical tones that seemed to carry emotional weight alongside factual information. It was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered, suggesting a species that thought and communicated in ways that were fundamentally different from human patterns. "This is incredible," Chen breathed, looking up from her console with wonder in her eyes. "They're not just communicating with us, Commander. They're trying to establish an emotional connection. The harmonic patterns are designed to evoke specific feelings: curiosity, friendship, hope. It's like they're trying to sing their intentions directly into our hearts." Jessica moved to the science station, studying the complex waveforms displayed on Chen's monitors. The alien message was indeed beautiful, with mathematical precision underlying its musical structure. It suggested a species that had evolved to communicate through multiple channels simultaneously, possibly as a result of living in close communal groups where emotional harmony was essential for survival. "What's the content of the message?" she asked. Chen consulted her translation algorithms, frowning as she worked to decode the complex communication. "They're welcoming us to what they call the Great Symphony, or the Song of All Voices. I think it's their term for the galactic community. They're also expressing curiosity, wonder. It's hard to translate emotional content, but they seem genuinely excited to meet us." "There's more," Chen continued, her excitement growing. "They're offering to facilitate our introduction to other species in the galactic community. Commander, we're not just meeting one alien race. They're describing a vast network of civilizations that spans this entire region of the galaxy." The implications were staggering. Humanity had spent decades wondering if they were alone in the universe, only to discover that they had been surrounded by a thriving galactic community all along. The isolation that had defined human existence was about to end, replaced by membership in a vast network of intelligent species. They're also transmitting star charts, Chen reported, her voice filled with awe. Locations of inhabited systems, trade routes, diplomatic meeting points. Commander, they're not just welcoming us to the galactic community. They're giving us a roadmap to our new future. Jessica felt the weight of history settling on her shoulders. The next few hours would determine how humanity entered the galactic stage. Would they be welcomed as equals, accepted as junior members who needed guidance, or dismissed as primitive newcomers who weren't ready for such responsibility? "Prepare a response," she ordered. "Express our gratitude for their welcome and our eagerness to learn about the galactic community. Ask about formal diplomatic procedures and whether there are protocols we should follow. And Dr. Chen, see if you can incorporate some of their harmonic communication methods into our message. If emotional content is important to them, we should try to reciprocate." As the crew worked to craft humanity's response to their first alien diplomatic contact, Jessica couldn't help but marvel at how quickly their situation had changed. Just hours ago, they had been explorers venturing into the unknown. Now they were ambassadors representing their entire species in negotiations that would determine humanity's place in the galaxy. The alien fleet maintained their ceremonial formation as humanity's response was transmitted, their ships running lights pulsing in patterns that seemed almost like visual music. It was a display of beauty and power that left no doubt about the sophistication of the beings they were dealing with. "Message transmitted," Park reported. "And Commander, I'm detecting response signals from throughout the system. Word of our arrival is spreading fast." Jessica nodded, knowing that there was no turning back now. Humanity's isolation was ending, and their greatest adventure was just beginning. The galaxy was vast and filled with wonders beyond imagination, and somehow, impossibly, they had been invited to join it. The response from the harmonious collective came swiftly, and with it, humanity's first glimpse into the true complexity of galactic civilization. Dr. Chen worked frantically to decode the transmission, which contained not just communication from the alien fleet, but embedded messages from dozens of other species throughout the system. "Commander, this is extraordinary," Chen reported, her voice trembling with excitement. "They're not just speaking for themselves. This message contains greetings from 17 different species, each using their own communication methods, but all integrated into a single harmonious transmission. It's like a galactic choir, with each voice contributing to a greater symphony." Jessica moved to the science station, studying the complex patterns displayed on the monitors. The visual representations of the alien communications were beautiful, with flowing waveforms that seemed to dance and interweave like living art. Each species' contribution had its own distinctive signature, yet they blended together into something greater than the sum of its parts. "What are they saying?" she asked, though part of her was almost afraid to know. The scope of what they were dealing with was becoming clear, and it was far beyond anything humanity had imagined. Chen consulted her translation algorithms, her fingers flying over the controls as she worked to decode the multifaceted message. The harmonious collective is acting as our primary contact, but they're introducing us to the other species in the system. There are traders from a species they call the geometric ones, explorers from something that translates as the deep swimmers, and representatives from at least a dozen other civilizations. She paused, scrolling through more data. "Commander, they're describing a formal structure for galactic civilization. There's something called the Concordance of Voices, which seems to be a governing body that maintains peace and facilitates trade between species. They're offering to sponsor our introduction to the Concordance." Jessica felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. The discovery that humanity was surrounded by a vast galactic community was incredible, but it also raised countless questions about their place in this new reality. How would Earth's governments react to learning that they were now a minor member of a galactic civilization? How would humanity adapt to being just one voice among hundreds or thousands? "There's more," Chen continued, her excitement palpable. "They're describing the benefits of Concordance membership, access to advanced technologies, protected trade routes, cultural exchange programs, and something they call the Great Library. Commander, they're offering us knowledge that could advance human civilization by centuries." Lieutenant Commander Thompson looked up from his tactical station, where he had been monitoring the alien fleet's movements. "Sir, their formation is changing again. The smaller vessels are withdrawing to a respectful distance, but the command ship is moving closer. I think they want to establish closer contact." Jessica nodded, making a decision that she knew would change everything. Open a channel to their command ship. If we're going to join the galactic community, we need to start building relationships with its members. The main view screen shimmered and suddenly displayed the interior of the alien command vessel. Jessica's breath caught as she got her first clear look at the beings who had welcomed humanity to the stars. The harmonious collective members were unlike anything she had imagined, with elongated forms that seemed to flow like liquid mercury, their surfaces reflecting the soft lighting of their bridge in patterns that might have been communication or simply expressions of emotion. Their leader, if that was the correct term, stepped forward with movements that seemed more like a graceful dance than simple locomotion. When it spoke, the sound came not just from one source, but from multiple points around its form, creating the harmonic communication method that Dr. Chen had been studying. "Greetings, voices of the young singers," the being said, its words translated by the ship's computer into understandable English. "We welcome you to the great symphony that spans the stars. Your voice is new and unique, and we are eager to learn the songs of your people. Jessica stepped forward, acutely aware that she was representing all of humanity in this moment. On behalf of the human species and the planet Earth, I thank you for your welcome. We are honored to learn that we are not alone in the universe and grateful for your offer to introduce us to the galactic community. The alien leader's form shimmered with what might have been pleasure or amusement. Your species shows great potential, young singer. Your ships sing with harmonies of determination and curiosity, traits that are valued among the concordants. But we sense also harmonies of caution and preparation for conflict. This too is wise, for the galaxy holds wonders and dangers in equal measure. Dr. Chen leaned close to Jessica, whispering urgently. Commander, their translation of young singers isn't just about age. I think it refers to species that have recently achieved interstellar travel. They're categorizing us as newcomers to the galactic community. Jessica nodded, filing the information away as she continued the conversation. We are indeed new to interstellar travel, and we have much to learn. Our mission was one of exploration and peaceful contact. We hoped to find other intelligent life, but we never imagined we would discover such a vast and complex community. The galaxy has been waiting for your voice, the alien replied, its harmonic tones carrying what seemed like genuine warmth. Each new species brings unique perspectives and abilities to the great symphony. Your people's harmonies of innovation and adaptability will be valuable additions to our collective knowledge. Thompson chose that moment to interrupt quietly. Commander, I'm detecting new arrivals at the edge of the system. Multiple hyperspace signatures, and some of them are big, really big. Jessica felt a flutter of concern, but the alien leader's response was reassuring. Do not fear, young singer. Word of your arrival has spread throughout this region of the galaxy. Others come to witness this historic moment and to offer their own greetings to humanity. The concordance values the moment when a new voice joins the great symphony. As Jessica watched, the tactical display showed the arrival of several massive vessels, each one representing a different alien species. The variety was staggering. Crystalline ships that seemed to be grown rather than built, geometric vessels that looked like floating cities, and organic craft that pulsed with their own internal light. This is incredible, Chen whispered, her scientific mind reeling at the diversity of life and technology on display. Commander, we're witnessing the greatest moment in human history. First contact isn't just with one species, it's with an entire galactic civilization. The alien leader seemed to sense their awe and wonder. The path to full membership in the Concordance is long and requires preparation, but we will guide you through each step. Your species will need to demonstrate wisdom, peaceful intentions, and the ability to contribute positively to the galactic community. Are you prepared to begin this journey? Jessica looked around the bridge at her crew, seeing the same mixture of excitement and determination in their faces that she felt in her own heart. They had come to the stars seeking knowledge and discovery, and they had found something beyond their wildest dreams. Now they had the opportunity to lift humanity to heights they had never imagined possible. "We are ready," she replied, her voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment. "Humanity is prepared to take its place among the stars and contribute our voice to the great symphony." The alien leader's form shimmered with what she was beginning to recognize as expressions of joy and approval. "Then, let us begin, young singer. The galaxy awaits your song." The next several hours passed in a blur of revelations as representatives from different species made contact with the Prometheus. Each encounter revealed new aspects of galactic civilization that challenged everything humanity thought they knew about their place in the universe. Commander Rodriguez found herself in the ship's main conference room, which had been hastily converted into a diplomatic meeting space. The room's holographic displays showed images and data from over 30 different species, each with their own unique biology, technology, and cultural approaches to civilization. Dr. Chen sat at the far end of the table, surrounded by tablets and data screens as she worked to catalog and understand the flood of information they were receiving. Her xenobiology expertise, developed through years of theoretical study, was being put to its ultimate test as she encountered real alien life forms for the first time. "The diversity is staggering," Chen reported, looking up from her work with wonder in her eyes. "We're not just dealing with different species, Commander. We're looking at completely different evolutionary paths, different approaches to intelligence, different ways of understanding reality itself." She gestured to one of the displays, which showed a crystalline being that communicated through patterns of light and resonance. The resonant ones evolved from silicon-based mineral formations. They don't think in terms of individual consciousness the way we do. They're more like living computers that share processing power across vast networks spanning entire planets. Another display showed floating, jellyfish-like creatures that existed primarily in gas giant atmospheres. The deep swimmers never developed solid matter technology. Everything they build is made from compressed gases and magnetic fields. They've been exploring space for thousands of years, but their ships are essentially living ecosystems. Jessica absorbed this information while monitoring communications from the growing fleet of alien vessels surrounding them. The Prometheus had become the center of what appeared to be an impromptu galactic gathering, with representatives from across this region of space coming to witness humanity's introduction to the wider community. Lieutenant Commander Thompson approached with the latest tactical assessment. "Commander, we now have 47 alien vessels in the immediate area, with more arriving hourly. The largest ship is over 30 kilometers long and appears to be some kind of mobile city. Our sensors can't even begin to estimate its population." "Any signs of hostile intent?" Jessica asked, though the aliens' behavior so far had been overwhelmingly peaceful. "None whatsoever," Thompson replied. If anything, they seem to be maintaining respectful distances and following what appear to be established protocols for first contact situations. I think we're witnessing something that doesn't happen very often, even in galactic terms. Dr. Chen looked up from her work, nodding in agreement. The Harmonious Collective mentioned that new species joining the galactic community is a rare and significant event. Some of these representatives have traveled for days just to be present for our introduction. We're not just making first contact, Commander. We're becoming part of galactic history. The implications were overwhelming. Jessica had expected first contact to be a simple meeting between two species, possibly followed by formal diplomatic exchanges and gradual cultural integration. Instead, they had stumbled into what appeared to be the galactic equivalent of a major international summit. "Commander," Lieutenant Park called from the communications station, "we're receiving a priority transmission from the Concordance representative. They're ready to begin the formal introduction process." Jessica straightened her uniform and returned to the bridge, where the main view screen displayed the interior of what was clearly the most advanced ship in the gathering fleet. The Concordance representative was unlike any of the other aliens they had encountered, appearing as a being of pure energy contained within a roughly humanoid form of shifting light. "Greetings, representatives of humanity," the being spoke, its voice carrying harmonics that seemed to resonate directly in their minds. "I am Conductor Zephes, speaking for the concordance of voices in this region of the galaxy. Your arrival has been noted with great interest, and we are prepared to begin the formal process of evaluation for potential membership in our community." Jessica felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders once again. "We are honored by your consideration, Conductor Zephes. Humanity is eager to learn about the concordance and determine how we might contribute to the galactic community." The energy being's form pulsed with what might have been approval. "The evaluation process has several stages, each designed to assess a species' readiness for full participation in galactic civilization. The first stage involves demonstrating your technological capabilities, cultural stability, and peaceful intentions." Dr. Chen leaned forward, her scientific curiosity overcoming diplomatic protocol. "Conductor, may I ask about the criteria for evaluation? What specific qualities does the concordance look for in potential member species?" Zephes turned its attention to the scientist, and Jessica could swear she felt the being's amusement. "An excellent question, young scholar. The concordance seeks species that demonstrate three key qualities: wisdom in the use of advanced technology, harmony in their internal relationships, and curiosity about the universe and its inhabitants. Your species shows promise in all three areas," the conductor continued. "Your ship demonstrates sophisticated technology used for exploration rather than conquest. Your crew works together with remarkable efficiency and mutual respect. And your eagerness to learn about us suggests the intellectual curiosity that drives the greatest civilizations. Thompson spoke up from his station. What about the other stages of evaluation? The second stage involves cultural exchange and demonstration of your species' contributions to galactic knowledge, Zephes explained. Each member species brings unique perspectives and capabilities to the concordance. We will need to understand what humanity offers to the greater community. The final stage, the conductor continued, involves a formal presentation to the full concordance assembly, where representatives from hundreds of species will vote on your acceptance. This process can take years, but successful candidates are granted full access to concordance technologies, trade networks, and cultural resources. Jessica felt her excitement building despite the daunting nature of the process ahead. We understand that this is a significant commitment on both sides. What can humanity do to prepare for these evaluations? Learn, Zephes replied simply. Study our cultures, understand our technologies, discover your own unique contributions to galactic civilization. The Harmonious Collective has volunteered to serve as your primary mentors during this process, and other species have offered to share their knowledge as well. The energy being gestured, and the view screen split to show multiple alien representatives, each ready to offer their assistance to humanity's integration into galactic society. Jessica realized that they were being offered opportunities that could advance human civilization by millennia. There is one requirement, Zephes added, its tone becoming more serious. Full membership in the concordance requires that a species demonstrate internal unity. You must show that your people can work together peacefully before you can be trusted to work with others across the galaxy. Jessica felt a chill of concern. Earth's political situation was complex, with numerous nations and competing interests that often led to conflict. How could humanity demonstrate the unity that the concordance required while maintaining the diversity and independence that made them strong? We understand, she replied, though privately she wondered how they would meet this challenge. Humanity will work toward the unity and cooperation that galactic civilization requires. Then let us begin, Conductor Zephes announced. Welcome to your first steps among the stars, humanity. The galaxy awaits your contributions to the great symphony of civilization. The next phase of first contact proved to be far more complex than anyone aboard the Prometheus had anticipated. Over the following days, the ship became a hub of constant activity as alien representatives shared knowledge, cultural information, and technological concepts that challenged humanity's fundamental understanding of science and civilization. Commander Rodriguez found herself managing what amounted to the most important diplomatic mission in human history, while also trying to maintain ship operations and crew morale under extraordinary circumstances. The bridge had been reconfigured with additional communication stations to handle the constant stream of transmissions from over 60 alien vessels now gathered in the system. Dr. Chen had barely slept for 3 days, working around the clock to catalog and analyze the flood of scientific information they were receiving. Her workspace in the ship's science laboratory had been expanded to include holographic displays showing alien technologies that operated on principles humanity had never imagined. "Commander, we need to talk," Chen said, approaching Jessica with a mixture of excitement and concern. "What we're learning is going to revolutionize human science, but it's also revealing just how primitive our current technology really is." Jessica followed the scientist to the main laboratory, where displays showed alien technologies in operation. One screen displayed a harmonious collective vessel that seemed to exist partially outside normal space-time, allowing it to travel vast distances instantaneously. Another showed resonant one cities that grew themselves from programmed crystal matrices, expanding and adapting based on their inhabitants' needs. "The technological gap is larger than we initially estimated," Chen explained, her voice filled with scientific wonder tinged by professional humility. "Some of these species are operating with technologies that we don't even have theoretical frameworks for understanding. Energy sources that tap directly into quantum vacuum fluctuations, materials that exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, communication systems that operate faster than light by using quantum entanglement on a macroscopic scale.